Hello and welcome to our Monday community call. My name is Arin and I'm one of the founding members of the Visionary Leaders Collective. We gather here every Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and for about 30 minutes, we talk about our beloved essential oils and the health and wellness products that doTERRA makes for us. Then in the second half, we talk about sharing doTERRA so you can earn an income, you could earn your products for free, and you can become involved in this movement of getting an essential oil in every single home. Today on the call, we are going to be talking about supporting our pets with aromatherapy since tomorrow in the United States, it is the 4th of July, or not tomorrow. Tomorrow. Is that tomorrow? Oh my gosh. 4th of July is tomorrow, and our pets need extra love and support when those fireworks go off. So before we dive into the topic, I'm going to turn it over to Aisha Harley, and she is going to kick us off with a grounding meditation.
Hello, everybody, and thank you, Arin. Thank you for joining us live, for all of you on the call, and hello to everybody listening to the recording. If you have your cedarwood oil, please grab that. If you don't have cedarwood, you could also grab sandalwood or any of the wood oils. And I wanted to use this oil today because it's very grounding, it's very nourishing, it's amazing for sleep. Sometimes if I wake up in the middle of the night and my mind is racing and I can't fall back to sleep, without fail, if I rub some cedarwood on the back of my neck and smell it, then that will really help prompt me back into sleep. So take your oil and put some on the palms of your hands. I like to do 3 to 5 drops. Oops. You're welcome to turn your cameras on. We love to see you, and of course, not obligated. And then take your hands and rub your hands together. And if you're running around and listening to this and multitasking, this will just take a few minutes. If you can just stop and be with us in this present moment, I promise you it will serve you. So bring your hands up to your nose and close your eyes and take a nice, long, deep inhale. And just hold your breath for a few seconds and then release and exhale. And we're going to do what's called a box breath. So you can bring your hands to your heart or rest them anywhere on your body that you feel called to do so. And we're going to inhale a count of 4. We're going to hold a count of 4. We're going to exhale a count of 4 and hold out. So I'm going to walk us through the first cycle. The second cycle we'll do on our own. And then the third cycle, I will walk you through that. And then we'll move on to our topic. So let's begin. Take a nice long, deep breath, counting 1, 2, 3, 4, and then hold the breath in. And then exhale slowly. Exhale the breath out. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then hold the breath out for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now do that cycle on your own with that same pace. And one more all together. Inhale, count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. And hold the breath out. And then just return to a normal breath. And just notice and allow all of your sensations that are rushing through you, but without being attached to any of them. Just allow yourself to be in this quiet space of observation. And then on our last cycle of breath together, inhale love. And release whatever is not needed. Anxiety, stress, worry, whatever is not needed, just let it go. And slowly begin to open your eyes. And just take a moment to notice, just in those few minutes of being present with your breath, with your sensations, with your essential oil, the shift that has had in your consciousness, and really notice how quickly and easy we can change our whole state of being by just being present with the breath. And with that, I'm going to pass the call over to Arin, and she is going to share with us how to keep our pets safe during the 4th of July.
Thanks, Aisha. I love breath work, but doing it with cedarwood takes it to a whole nother level. So that's so good. Cedarwood has that ability to produce GABA in your brain. And GABA is that relaxing neurotransmitter. Cedarwood is also one of the oils that I think every pet owner should have for multiple reasons, which I'm sure we'll get into more. But specifically, it's really good to put on your pets before you go out on a hike to deter ticks and whatnot. But then calming your pets, the cedarwood's going to be so great. So we're going to talk about aromatherapy for our pets, specifically because tomorrow is 4th of July here in the United States. And I know that some of our doggies can get really anxious. Our humans can get really anxious. So what we share today can be used for humans as well. But also this is just going to be a great refresher for those of you that have learned about pets and oils before. And for those of you who haven't, this can be inspiring for you to use with your pets or bring to your friends who have pets. So there's a couple safety rules before we start using oils with pets. The first is to remember that dogs and many animals have a heightened sense of smell. So where we can enjoy the essential oil and enjoy the aroma, it's going to be very much increased for animals, especially dogs. Also, they can't talk to us, so they can't say, hey, that hurts, or that doesn't smell good, or that doesn't feel good. So there's a couple of rules of consent that I use with animals. One is I'm never going to put it in their only source of drinking water or their only source of food. There is a way to get oils internally into animals, and we'll probably talk about that. But in general, make sure if you want to put oils in their food, I like to do it on a treat. That way it's an additional form of food, not what they're depending upon. We also never put essential oils in the eyes of animals or the nose. And with that in mind, just like us, essential oils that have a sensation, like peppermint, lemongrass, oregano, we call those hot oils, cinnamon. We're going to be very careful with those. And there may be a time and a place to use some of them, but in general, we never want to put those hot oils on our animals' skin. And then a carrier is always a good idea. The best carrier for animals is aloe vera gel or water, because it doesn't make their fur all greasy. A common question people ask is, if I put the essential oil on the fur, like if I pet the animal, will they still get the oil? And the answer is yes, because their hair is this kind of tube and it sucks the oils into their skin. The biggest safety concern or practice that I like to teach is the act of offering oils to your animal. So instead of just taking your oil and being like, you need some cedarwood, come here, and putting it on the dog or cat or cow or goat or chicken or whatever it is you're working with, I'm always going to offer first. So I like to offer with the cap on because of that heightened sense of smell. I know that the dog can smell it. And with offering, I'm just going to get myself into a calm place. So that breathing exercise that Aisha did, that would be a wonderful thing to do before you're going to offer oils to an animal, because that gets you very centered and grounded. Then I might just sit down and kind of extend the bottle to my dog and see, does she sniff it? Does she run away? Does she put her ears back? What does her body language do? And as long as the dog is not leaving the room, it means that it's an okay yes. But you want to watch the dog to see what else it does. Does it try to lick the oil? Does it kind of move 10 feet away from you and then sit down? If it does that, it's choosing its own distance for the aromatherapy. So then you wouldn't want to force it any further upon the dog. But as long as you have a general yes from the dog, then you can begin to use the essential oil. There's many different ways to use essential oils or aromatherapy with animals. One would be simply to put a few drops on your hand, rub it together so it absorbs into your hands, and then pet the animal. That can be really nice. Even a little massage. If you know Reiki, you can send some Reiki to the animal. Another way to do it is to apply it by massaging their ears. Those are nice reflex points, especially when we're talking about stress and anxiety. Animals also have the reflexology points on their paws, just like we do. And if you Google reflexology for animals, you'll get a little paw chart. Sometimes the animal will show you where they want it. I have a video of me working with a pit bull, and she actually rolled over on her back and wanted it on her belly. So just watch what your animal does. They'll present to you where they maybe want the oil. Another way to use oils is to actually do some training. So if your pet has a bed area that it likes to go and lay down at, and it's always peaceful in that bed, you might choose one oil that you always use, like Serenity or jasmine. And you can actually attach that scent to the relaxation of the bed. So you can always give your dog a jasmine massage when they're laying on the bed. And you can always be really chill when you have jasmine. And eventually the dog will associate the smell of jasmine with the bed and the relaxation. And that can be nice for them. The other thing you can do is you can make a spray bottle with the oil in it. I do this for my flea and tick support. So I spray my dog down every day with a flea and tick spray that I've made. And then lastly, you can use some oils internally. The best ones that I would use for internal use would be Copaiba, digestion, and frankincense, and lavender. So I'm going to use the Copaiba for anxiety, for stress, for overall aches and pains. Frankincense, much in the same way. Digestion, if we've got tummy trouble. And lavender, if they're itchy, they have allergies, or they're itching their skin a lot. So I could go on and on. There's so many ways to use it, but I mostly wanted to go over that safety aspect and offering them. So I'm going to turn it over to you now, Aisha.
Thank you, Arin. I know this is such an amazing topic and we haven't visited it in quite a while. So it's really great to have all of these reminders. I do want to remind all of you that during the 4th of July, 1 in 5 dogs actually run away, and oftentimes they are not reunited with their owners. And so this is a very, very stressful time for not only our dogs, but also our cats, our birds, our guinea pigs, all of our little furry friends. And one of the keys is to be very proactive and to start preparing before the fireworks. You know, it's sort of like us humans when we talk about using oils on a regular basis. If the fireworks are going off and then you get out your lavender in that moment, you're probably not going to see a huge result. And so, you know, we don't want to set you up for false expectations because the fireworks can be very, very traumatizing for the animals. So what I would encourage you to do is, especially if you're new to using your oils, is tomorrow, like prepare for this before the fireworks are going off. And so just some safety things I want to go over are to make sure that you walk your dogs before the fireworks are going off, right? And so you're not going to be taking them out on a walk as people are starting to light up the sprinklers. Make sure that your home is safe, and even also for your cats too, that the windows aren't open and there aren't places for them to escape to get outside. So bring them in the house. There's also, I don't know if you knew this, but there's actually music that you can play for your animals, and you can find that on YouTube. And so playing some music in your home can be really helpful, and having a safe space for them. And then also diffusing the essential oils all throughout the day. So I would start diffusing the essential oils in the morning. Now, as Arin was talking about, you do want to make sure that if you're diffusing the oils, especially with cats, I mean, this is true for dogs and cats, but you want to be to make sure that they can leave the room. So if you have the diffuser in one room, just make sure there's a way for them to leave. As Arin mentioned, their sense of smell is so much stronger than ours that they are having a very different experience. And so you don't want to lock them in a room with essential oils. I want to also share some of the oils. I know Arin shared some, but I want to share a few more that we would recommend during, this time of kind of heightened stress and anxiety. So, and you don't have to use all of them, and we're giving you choices so you can use whatever you have, but the Peace Blend is a really wonderful to diffuse. Serenity, Arin already mentioned Lavender. Vetiver. We did the meditation with cedarwood because cedarwood is an amazing oil for the animals. Roman chamomile, balance, calmer, and copaiba. So I would begin diffusing that in the morning, like I said, and let that be diffusing all throughout the day. And also some other tips are, unless you really need to go out, I would highly recommend staying at home with your pets, having some high value treats in the space for them. Make sure that you've tired them out. So again, go out for that walk or the run beforehand. Make sure they've done their potty business so they don't need to go outside during the firecrackering explosion time. And let's see, anything else? I think those are some of my general tips. And then also share these tips with friends or family that also have pets. I mean, I think sometimes we think, as being an animal owner, we assume that people know this information. But if people knew this information, 1 out of 5 dogs would not be running away during this time, right? Like, this wouldn't be happening if people were really taking care of their pets. So if you have friends and family, check in with them and share the information, and see if they need any support around how to care for their pet during this season, or post something that, for any of you that are doing the social selling challenge, this might be a good time to post something about this and educate people in your own community. I also want to share just a couple more things. We do have a wonderful vet in our doTERRA community. Her name is Dr. Janet Rourke. And if you go to her Instagram page or her website, she has tips. She has sort of the top oils for your dogs and for your cats. She has dilution ratios. And oftentimes, depending on the size of your dog, like literally you would put 1 drop into that carrier oil or into that aloe and really dilute it down. So if you're using them with your pets for the first time, definitely make sure and check those dilution ratios. And then, like Arin said, she's passed away, but my dog Pepper had a lot of digestive issues. And when I would pull out Digestin, even from the kitchen unopened, she would run upstairs. She did not like Digestin. And so I found another alternative for her because I didn't want to force that upon her. But my dog Pluto, when I put rose or jasmine on, he licks it off of my hand. And so, as Arin said, if you watch your animal's behavior, they'll tell you, like you can look with dogs if they kind of like lick their lip a little bit. I'm here in Istanbul and there's 2 cats. And I've been using a lot of deep blue rub and Havuch. When I get that deep blue rub out, he walks into the other room. He does not like the deep blue rub. Like they'll really tell you and communicate with you. But if you pay attention and then find those oils that they really love, they oftentimes will show you that they love them, and it really can have a wonderful calming effect on their nervous system. Let's see. So do we have any questions? Yes, I will post her Instagram information in a moment. And we just have a few minutes left. So I'd love to see if anyone on the call has anything they want to contribute. You can put it in the chat, or if you have any questions, this would be a great time for questions. Florence?
I had to unmute myself. Yes, I've had really good experience with my cats with using balance as well. Mostly, that's what I will diffuse during the day and the days coming up to it. And then I also put it in the palm of my hands, like you were saying, and I rub it on them. And he's pretty tolerable of it. But what is really interesting is when like you said about the deep blue, he is far away from me as he can get when I apply that. But when I do I have another skin thing that I made up like a salve. And when I put that on, he is constantly licking me. He, like I'll put it on a aloe or something, and he's constantly licking me. So he really likes that. But he definitely has his opinion. And I've seen a major difference. And I always am sharing with so many people that I know that have animals, get your diffuser going, get that balance going. And I agree with the cedarwood as well. I think that those two are really nice. And the one that you talked about, the peace. Oh my gosh, yeah. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. I know it works.
Contessa Beth says her dog acts and says yes to time. When I have the bottle near her, she sniffs extra and says yes. So I want to trust her that she may need it, but not sure how to proceed. Great question, Contessa Beth. So, well, first you did the first step. The first step is to get their permission. Then I would watch first what the dog wants to do. If your dog is sniffing, I would probably just put the bottle on the ground with the cap on, since thyme is spicy. And I would let her, or is she to her? I would let her get her aromatherapy in at her own pace. So she might come and lay down next to the bottle. She might step away a little bit. And that is totally fine. Then my next thing is I'll turn into a detective. So, okay, she's saying yes to thyme. What does thyme do? So I'll go to my book or my app and I'll learn all the things about thyme. Thyme is antiviral, thyme is hormone balancing, thyme is great for your mood. What are all the things that thyme is good for? And then I would kind of know what is going on with my dog. I would think about what the vet has said at different times. What are issues that I know the dog has? A great example of this is a story I can tell you about my horse, Honey. She was having some weird symptoms. She would fall asleep standing up, other weird symptoms. And every time I offered her oils, she would always pick oils like fennel, clary sage, geranium. If I had clary calm on, she'd go crazy for it. And she even loved what is now MetaPower. And I thought, what do all these oils have in common? And, put it in the chat if you can guess. What do all these oils have in common? Clary sage, geranium, MetaPower. And I went, oh, they're all metabolic and hormonal support oils. Interesting. What is a horse issue that is hormonal and metabolic and could cause these symptoms I was noticing in her. Cushing's is a common horse disease that's a metabolic disease. So I called her vet and I said, I want to test her for Cushing's. And he was like, really? Why? And I explained to him everything, got her tested for Cushing's. Lo and behold, she has Cushing's. And so then I was able to take her treatment more seriously. Of course, I used oils and herbs and other treatments, and we were able to get her Cushing's to a point of just handling it. So you can go the same direction with your dog, Contessa Beth. What do you know about your dog as compared to what time can do? And she might actually be helping you diagnose something. If somebody wants time, I always think of, viral. Is there a viral thing going on? So you could majorly dilute the time because it's so hot. That would be like 1 drop in maybe you could use olive oil, or you could use something else that you maybe already put in the dog's food, like coconut oil. So I would do like 1 drop of thyme in 3 tablespoons of coconut oil, mix that all up, and then I'd give her a little bit of that coconut oil every day and let the thyme do its work. So those are my thoughts there. Here's another question, Aisha, if you want to take it. She has just picked up my daughter's cat to babysit 1 time a month. She urinated in non-kitty litter spots. Oh, I hate that. Any ideas? What do you do for potty accidents, Aisha?
For cats, I personally have less experience, so I don't want to. I mean, my guess would be that I would spray some Purify on the areas. But if anybody, I have more experience with dogs directly. So does anybody else have any ideas on how to answer that question? My sister's not on the call. My sister's not on the call, and she's the cat lady in the group. She's the one with the cats, and I have the dogs. I mean, if my dogs have an accident, I use either baking soda and Purify, or I actually also really like rosemary, or you can also use the Abode blend, and I will put the oils into baking powder and then sprinkle it on the carpet. I mean, I also do the enzyme cleaner as well, and then blot it up and then put the baking soda, let that sit, and then vacuum it. So you could use that same approach with cleaning up kind of the cat area. But I know that cat urine is also a lot more challenging to clean up and deal with than dog urine is.
I was actually hoping for something to help her not want to urinate there. I don't know what's the underlying cause.
She could have a kidney infection. So when dogs or cats start urinating in places they're not supposed to, it can be kidney issues. And cats have more kidney issues than other animals because of the food we feed them. So cats are not meant to eat kibble. They're supposed to eat like all these, like they eat the whole mouse, right, when they get it. And so they're getting their water from all the organs. And our cats eat kibble and then they drink water, and it can be really hard on their kidneys. So you could try offering her some of the oils that are good for kidney support, like juniper berry, this endocrine blend, geranium, and see what she says to it. But with cats, the dilution is like way, way intense. It's 1 drop of essential oil into a 2-ounce bottle of carrier oil, and then just 1 drop of that. You have to majorly dilute the oils. What I do for cats is I take my almost empty bottles, when your bottle has gotten to the point where you can't really get anything out, and then I'll fill that up with either fractionated coconut oil or water, and that becomes my cat. I'll make like a little cat essential oil kit.
I'm also wondering if there's a little bit of behavior going on in there. Do you have
I'm sure.
house, because it might be that she's marking other territories. And so that would also speak to maybe having some anxiety when she's coming over to stay in your home. So that there might, find ways to soothe her, to play with her, to make sure she has her own safe place, and looking at some of those aspects as well.
Thank you.
The last thing I want to add before we wrap this up is, I know many of you are, doTERRA users and you already know this, but if you're listening to the podcast or if you're new and you go searching essential oils and animals, you are going to find a lot of very conflicting information, especially around using essential oils with cats. And then also like what oils are safe with dogs. And a lot of this is based on very old information and also on the use of non-pure therapeutic essential oils. So I would recommend, if you're looking into using your essential oils, that in a way you disregard some of that other information and look to the resources that we have. That's why I wanted to share, there's a book, Spoil Your Pet. There's the vet, Janet Rourke, and we shared her Instagram profile because they are vets. They work with the doTERRA essential oils, and everything that we're sharing is doTERRA specific. And this is really, really important, not only for us in our own bodies, but also because of the sensitivity of animals and making sure that you're not putting anything toxic on them. So I just want to kind of give that, that bit of disclaimer about this conversation.
Thanks, Aisha. And we could put this in the show notes, but I also put in the chat, if you're live on Zoom, a bunch of webinars that we have in our community about all of this.
Yes,
so if you're really interested.
Maybe even, we have a horse one. We have two. We have one just about dogs. We have one about dogs and cats. And then we have one about dogs, cats, parrots, birds, and chickens. So we do, and I'll link all of those in our newsletter. So if you actually have not opted in for a newsletter, please go to hellovisionary.life and opt in. We send out the recording for this call along with the show notes, recipes, and all of our resources.
Yay. So happy oiling on your pets. And I hope that everybody stays peaceful for 4th of July. And now we are going to switch into the part of our call where we talk about sharing doTERRA and earning an income. And this is perfect with our subject, because what I want to talk to you all today about is the power of specializing in one area. So some people might call this finding your niche, or finding your target market or your target audience. And I really would invite us all to think about this as, what is your area of specialty? And maybe you're really inspired by the pets, and that is an area you'd like to focus on. Of course, it's totally okay to have multiple areas of specialty, but in a world that is so distracted, where we have so much coming at us every day through social media and the news and just life. And when we have a product like essential oils, which has gained a lot of popularity in the last 10 years, we have to kind of fight against not only people's attention issues, but we also have to fight against their bias and their assumptions. So if we just say, I teach people about essential oils, there can be all kinds of different assumptions or reactions that are made from the people in our lives or the people we're talking to. It could be something like, oh, I already use essential oils, but they're maybe buying their oils at Walmart, or they're just putting them in their diffuser and they don't really know how to use them medicinally. The reaction could be, oh, essential oils, that's snake oil, that's voodoo medicine, that isn't real. And they would disregard what we have to say. Or maybe they've had a bad experience with network marketing. And so they go, oh, essential oils, that's network marketing. I would never do that. Or they hear you say, I teach about essential oils, and they're just so kind of distracted in their life and they don't have the time to really dive in. They just go, well, essential oils aren't for me, because they've decided for some reason that essential oils aren't for them, or they're don't really know what essential oils do. But if we find our area of expertise, so if we teach pet owners how to be their own healer in their home and use natural medicine to take care of their pets, now the pet owner who's interested in learning natural solutions for their pets is going to lean in, right? They're going to go, oh, what do you do? Yeah, I teach pet owners how to cut their vet bills in half. That's a powerful one, right? I teach pet owners how to cut their vet bills in half and how to have natural solutions in their home. So when you find your area of specialty, I can't talk today, find your area of focus, first of all, you're going to be able to find your ideal person easier, and you're going to cut through all the noise. Sure, people who don't have pets are maybe going to disregard you, but that's okay, because how many pet owners are there in the world? Oh my gosh, so many. If you could just specialize in helping people with pets, you would have a never-ending line of people ready to talk to you. But when you also know your area of specialty, you can do advanced training. So you can leave this call today and go, oh gosh, I want to help people with pets. So I'm going to go look at Dr. Rourke's resources. I'm going to go watch all the webinars. I'm going to go rent the books from the library. I'm going to become so knowledgeable about pets and essential oils that I become an expert in my field. And then you're going to have this real knowledge and this support for people. From there, if you are using social media to get the word out about what you do, you now know exactly what you're going to talk about every day. You could have a whole Instagram dedicated to supporting your pets naturally, and not only talk about essential oils, but all kinds of other things. If you were really motivated, you could start a podcast all about supporting your pets naturally. And of course, the essential oils will be there. So I'm trying to just show you how much power and momentum can be created when you pick a focus and an area of expertise. Aisha said, I've enrolled a few people because they have wanted essential oils for their pets first, right? And then later started using them. This is one reason that I have at times really focused on pets and essential oils, because I have found that people will invest in natural solutions for their pets sometimes before they will themselves. And Aisha's totally right. They get the oils in the home for the pets, and then they start using them for themselves. So I'd like to take a moment to open it up to brainstorm, mastermind with all of you about your area of focus. What is the type of person that you want to help, and what do you want to help them with? And how can you kind of focus in on this area of expertise? And how can we help you get clarity about what that is? So I'm kind of going to bring Florence on, because she's been a rock star in the social selling challenge. And I would just love to hear what you're learning about who you're here to help, and any kind of insight you have for us about that.
Wow, I wasn't expecting that.
Sorry, Florence. I can coach you a little bit too. Like, you are talking about helping people who are grieving and having a big transition in life.
Yes. So my heart felt like a few years ago that I needed to help empower women in particular who are going through loss. And it's a journey. And sometimes it's hard for me too, still. You know, I'm 7 years into this. So I do have a passion for the oils, and I do have a passion to share them. And it's all coming from my heart. And so I think that's the most important thing. I still, you know, when we're talking about social selling, especially, the little bit of that perfectionism still comes forward for me. But I'm getting better because I've always been a perfectionist. And the one thing I've learned in this last year is you got to let it go. So I might come on there with my hair all pulled slick back. You know, I might look a little messy because I've been doing something. And so I've been letting that go, you know, letting those things go. It took me a long time. I had an upline leader that said, you know, just get on there. And I was being too judgmental about other people getting on that weren't in perfect state. And I thought, you got to let that go, Florence. It's, you know, so it's a process. And once you do it, it starts feeling, and for myself, even empowering. I can do this. I can share. And I truly believe that my purpose in this world right now is to share, and share from my heart. And getting away from the feeling of, you know, as far as wellness advocates, and getting away from that salesy feeling. And sometimes I find myself, I will say to somebody, when I feel like they're ghosting me or ignoring me, I feel like, and maybe you guys can give me some insight on this, is I feel like I want to talk to them about it and say, you know, let's have a talk, because every time I bring something up about using this or that with the essential oils, products, supplements, I feel like you're kind of ignoring or ghosting me, thinking I'm trying to sell you something. And I'm not. I'm just wanting to share because that's my passion. And I don't know if that's the correct thing to do, but I would love your input.
Yeah, well, I think the authenticity is refreshing and beautiful. And my only inquiry would be, did you have consent first to share? So sometimes we will share because we are excited and we want to, but that person actually doesn't want to hear about it.
Yeah. So
I always kind of check myself and go, did I get permission first?
Yeah. Okay.
And if I did, then I can go back and say, you know, at one time you were interested in learning. Did something change? But if I haven't gotten permission, then I can kind of check myself and go, oh, maybe I should ask them first if they want to learn and if they want to know about this.
So do you think that that's something you should ask every time practically with some people?
Well, my personal philosophy works like this, and then I'd love to hear what Aisha says. I am usually working with people who are coming towards me. So they're asking me questions about what I post. They're in my DMs asking me for support. I'm kind of putting my content and my vibe out there, and I'm waiting for the people who come to me. Every once in a while, there will be someone who I can tell is suffering, you know, like they're sick. And I will say to them, I'm so sorry you're not feeling well. I have something that could help. Would you like to learn about it? But until I ask them and they say yes, I don't try to tell them about it.
Okay.
That's my personal way. I'd love to know what you do, Aisha.
Yes, I think this is a great conversation, and there's so many things actually that you said that I wanted to kind of touch upon. But a couple things here, and we've talked about this a lot, but I think it's a really good reminder, is that permission-based questioning. So, you know, if you have a friend and you're kind of noticing somebody and it's someone you have a relationship with, and like Arin said, you realize that you have permission or you don't have permission, a really great thing to say is, you know, there's something that I've been wondering about, and would it be okay to talk to you about it? And simply asking, like, would it be okay for us to have this conversation? And then you could say something like, you know, I notice whenever I bring up doTERRA, you tend to retract a little bit. I certainly haven't meant to offend you or not to pushing anything on you, but I wanted to check in with you to see where you're at with it, because if you don't want to hear about it, by all means, I want to respect that, and just have it in a very tender way, but, kind of asking for permission to have that conversation first. And then that will usually really soften them and help them like bring down the barrier or whatever's like blocking them. And then you can kind of get to the heart of whatever is going on. Does that make sense? So yeah, and of course on social media, we're going to share whatever we want to share, so as far as that goes, but if you're like, I've certainly had people in my life that I know they don't really want to hear me talk about the oils. So I try to be very respectful of that. And then I wait for them to come to me. And I know that I have other people that I could talk about oils with all day long and they love it. So, you also should just be respectful to the different friendships. The other thing that I really want to touch on really quick, because I think this is a really important thing for many of us, is that fear of perfectionism. And I'm really glad that you brought that up, because I want to share in my own personal experience, because I have that exact same issue. Arin can tell you. I have the perfectionist issue. And for many, many years, I actually thought that it was my gift. And I really held on to that strongly, because I'm also an artist and I like things to be a certain way and blah, 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 blah. It took me years to realize that my perfectionism was really more of a defense and a fear, and that it was actually really blocking me and getting in my way from taking imperfect action. So if any of you are suffering, and oftentimes it actually roots back into trauma of our childhood and needing to make sure that everything is okay to keep trauma from happening around us. So if you have that perfectionist gene, which many of us do, having a deeper understanding of what's driving that and what's holding you in that pattern to help you begin to release it and move beyond it. And sure, it doesn't mean that you're not always going to struggle with it, because you know what, every time I put a post up, it still plagues me. But the difference is I don't let it stop me from taking that imperfect action like I used to. So no, we don't have to show up perfect. We don't have to have our hair looking perfect. We don't, and I think that actually people are more attracted to that true authenticity, because at the end of the day with doTERRA, people are not actually, people can buy doTERRA from whoever they want. They're buying you, and they're buying your authenticity. They're buying your sincerity. They're buying you. Right? So keep that in mind. And if you're relatable and you're being sincere and you're sharing, and like think through your life experiences, like Florence was saying, she's discovered, or she's suffered the loss of her husband and a lot of grief and the transition of that. I've recently gone through a divorce, and Arin shares a lot about her trauma. Like, what are the things that you've learned in your journey of life and the wisdom that you have gained that you might take for granted because it's your own reality? But that bit of wisdom or experience could be like just what that one person is looking for and what they're seeking and what they need to hear. So if you're feeling that nudge, that intuition, like, I really need to share this, maybe it's only going to touch that one person, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many likes you have on Instagram. It doesn't matter how many comments you have in the comment section. It might just be that one person that really needed to hear that, or that's deeply suffering, or it's like, wow, somebody else is going through this, and there is that little pearl of wisdom that's going to help get them through their day. And the last thing that I'll say, and then I'll hand it back over to you, Arin, is think about how your life would be if the person that shared doTERRA with you was too afraid to share it with you. Like, just think about that for a minute. I can't even imagine what my life would be if Arin did not share doTERRA with me. And she was shy about sharing it. Many of you might have heard that story. I won't go into it all now, but I am grateful to Arin every single day, because literally Arin sharing those essential oils with me was actually life-saving, because I was very, very ill with a serious disease when Arin shared those oils with me. So I don't, it's not that I'm trying to sound over dramatic, but you literally could be like sharing this pearl of wisdom, sharing this information that literally could be life-saving for somebody. Like that's really the impact of what this is. So let's not let our perfectionism or our fears or the person that doesn't want to hear about doTERRA get in our way. And yet we also want to be respectful. This isn't about fire hosing people either, because we can certainly do it in a way sometimes it is a turn off and we don't want to do that. But when you share from that really sincere, authentic place, it's going to pull people in and it's going to draw people towards you.
I think the key is that we are not here to share with the people we want to share with. We're here to share with the people who are meant to find us and meant to. There has to be a little bit of that, like letting go of control. I think something that always helps me is knowing that, kind of like that prayer. It was Oprah who said it, use me, God, use me. Whatever you believe in, the universe or higher power of the God, or you just believe in the oils, you're here to share with the people who are meant for you. But it can get really hard when our best friend doesn't want to hear about it, or our partner doesn't want to hear about it, or our daughter doesn't want to hear about it. When we love someone and we're like, if you just use some oils, everything would be better. And we just have to go, oh, that's not my job. My job is to be this beacon of light, share my story, put it out there, and then work with the people who say yes and they want to move towards me. But I get it. It can be hard when we really want to help someone.
I don't know why it is in life that our partners, the people that are the closest to us oftentimes are the most resistant. So it must be a Murphy's Law or something. But the best way to get their attention is to say nothing about it and to live your best life. And I don't mean that as cliche, but seriously, as they watch you heal, as they watch you thrive, as they see you work through challenges, as they see you living your life, that is going to get their attention. And then they sooner or later will come to you and ask you and inquire. And so truly don't worry about the people that are being resistant, and don't let that stop you from being a voice for our plant medicine, because the way that it gets shared is by being a voice for our plants and our planets. And when we are that voice and we share, I have experienced this and I know this to be true, those essential oils take care of us in return in so many ways. Like they're really such a blessing. So
yeah. Florence, to that empath, Florence says, as an empath, it truly hurts my heart sometimes. I completely understand that sentiment. And one thing that it took me many years to learn to do and to incorporate is a daily energy clearing. Because I am a healer and I'm out on social media and I'm working with so many people and I'm, in a leadership position, and I am an empath and a trauma survivor and a sensitive and all those things, I was taking on a lot of people's stuff. And now I just do twice a day, a little energy clearing. It can be as simple as going outside with your feet on the ground, no shoes, connecting into the earth. It can be as simple as using guaiac wood or clary sage or Spanish sage. It can be praying to the Holy Spirit. You get to decide of your own spiritual practice, but something that morning and night clears you of other people's thoughts and feelings and collects your own. One of my favorite prayers for that is, what's yours is yours, what's mine is mine. I release yours back to you and I keep what's mine. And that can really help with that kind of feeling everybody's stuff and wanting to heal and help everyone. So for all of us, we're healers, whether you kind of know it or not. If you're working with the oils and you're helping people with their health, you're a healer. You're probably sensitive, you're probably empathic. So just remember to release what is others and only keep what is yours. And oils that are great for that would be guaiac wood. I like to make a mixture of lemongrass, clary sage, and peppermint, and it's my spray. On Guard is good for that. Terra Shield is good for that. So the oils can be so great for that. So in closing, let this be fun. Let this be fun to think about. Some questions you can ask yourself if you're not clear on your focus or your niche yet is, what do I love? What's a subject that I love learning about? It doesn't even have to be related to oils or health. Are you really interested in gardening? Are you really interested in animals? Are you really interested in travel? Are you really interested in history? So what is something that you just love learning about? What is something that you could talk about all day long? What's a group of people that you would love to help and to serve? Is it kids? Is it teenagers? Is it women? Is it men? Is it animals? Is it plants? And then give yourself permission to experiment. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to commit to one subject, but it is okay to get creative and experiment. And then just practice talking about it and putting it out there. So I hope that's helpful to everybody and that you all have a wonderful week. And if you're in the United States celebrating the 4th of July, happy 4th of July, and that your pets stay healthy and happy and calm. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye, everyone. See you next week.